So Slovenia is a part of the North Adriatic mission, which includes, I think it's 5 countries now. When I left, they added, it's sad that I don't know, but Macedonia or Montenegro, one of those countries. It's an M country down in the south. But it was Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, and Serbia. So basically the northern reaches of Yugoslavia, most of which was in war with each other just 20 years ago, when about the age that all of us were born. That was when they were all in basically genocide. So it's got a lot of rifts culturally between the different countries, but linguistically, the 3 lower countries, Croatia, Serbia, and Bosnia, speak the same language. They just say that they don't speak the same language. They say that they speak completely different languages, and they claim to like the 4 different words that they have from each other because they hate each other, essentially. But really, it's the same language. Slovenes speak an actually different language that is categorized as something entirely different. So missionaries who go to Slovenia tend to only stay in Slovenia because it's hard to transfer down and learn a new language. But I did learn a lot of Croatian. You just have to. There's a lot of immigrants that come up to Slovenia from Croatia, and our mission home is in Zagreb, Croatia, because it's sort of a central location in that part of the former Yugoslavia. We have, like, I don't know, 12 branches, maybe more, in the mission. We don't have any wards. The biggest branches have about 100 people who attend every week, and we have actual church buildings for them. In Serbia, well, Serbia, it's not an actual standing building, but it's a nice area. In Croatia, we've got a nice building, and in Slovenia, we have one. And then otherwise, they're usually storefronts that are converted into small chapels. So in Slovenia, we have 3 branches. I think actually they just opened a 4th up in Kranj. So now we have 4 branches. And the average size of the branch is about 15 people who go every week. And then Ljubljana had about 80 to 100 people. But now that they've opened Kranj, I think they've divided it, so it's actually a lot smaller. So it's really small. We're working on getting it from being a district to a stake. That's like the goal. Eventually, someday there will be a temple in Slovenia that was promised by an apostle who came once. So everybody's really looking forward to that. When that happens, we're going to need a lot more members, but we're going to have that. Like, the growth is just enormous in the region right now. From 20 years of stagnation, because we opened right after, in Slovenia, the church opened right when Slovenia pulled out of the war with Bosnia, Croatia, and Serbia. So the church has been there longest out of all the 4 countries, but the other 3 countries continued to just fight each other up until 1994 and 1995. And so it started going down in there only recently, and Bosnia only opened 2 years ago for the first time, and they're all Muslims. So they're not only divided by just mutual, like, ethnic problems, but they're also divided by religion. The Slovenes and the Croatians are Catholic, the Serbians are Greek Orthodox, and the Bosnians are Muslims. And so people who serve in the lower 3 countries get to serve in all 3 usually, and you have completely different cultures because of their different religious backgrounds. That's partly why they ended up fighting so much. It's because the religious conflict was just pretty large. Also, people in those countries identify themselves deeply by their religion, whether or not they actually practice it, which is the majority of the time they don't. But they feel this real sense of nationality tied to their religious sentiment. And so when they convert to a new faith, it's sort of like leaving their nationality and ceasing to be a Serbian or ceasing to be a Bosnian. And so it's very, very difficult for them. But the people who do it because they're sincere, and they do it from the depths of their heart, and they have to deal with enormous persecution. Slovenia, it's not nearly so bad. People don't persecute you as much because they're kind of like, they have this weird sense of angelology. They focus a lot on angels and like mystical things and magic in the forests and stuff like that. And so they don't kind of really care what you believe as long as you just believe in some greater force. So it's a very interesting region in the world. And the church really is doing an amazing thing in bringing together people who have for literally several hundred years, all the way back to when the Turks invaded, been slaughtering each other. But they come together because they share a mutual faith and love of Christ. So it's amazing.